Hey, what's going on, brothers? This is Enemy Stand User. Welcome to another amazing chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen with Star and Oil Part 2. Truly, this is a clash of giants. Three peak sorcerers using their skills to face off in a battle of tactics and barriers. Thankfully, everything this week was super easy to understand, and we have lots and lots of context from the manga that confirms a lot of things about barrier combat, but more importantly, we get subtle hints at the fate of Tengen and where her goals align, because nothing in Jujutsu Kaisen is as black and white as it seems. So let's dive into this glorious battle. First, we start off by surprisingly seeing Yuki and Tengen discussing their plan to fight Kenjaku well before present time, as we get a bit of a flashback and get a look at Yuki relaxing in Tengen's sanctum. And this is some very interesting scenery, and I gotta say, damn girl, I definitely see Yuki, and I really do like seeing how cool she is about everything, and it feels as though Tengen's barrier is being used more like a 5-star resort in a way in how it's portrayed. But they both discuss a plan to get the upper hand on Kenjaku's domain, since Kenjaku's main goal is to reach Tengen's real body in the main shrine. Tengen wanted the others to fight Kenjaku in a room above the shrine, which is actually one of the many mazes that acts as rooms to keep intruders away. We even see a little example of what it is like, as we see the first layer is the Jujutsu Technical School. A deeper layer is the Cursed Warehouse, aka the Vault of Taboo, where cursed objects like the 6 other death paintings are. Then a deeper layer, barring certain conditions, there is a series of interconnecting rooms that run like mazes to protect Tengen, labeled as the Sunyuta barriers. And this is where we are currently at and fighting at now. Then last, there's the Tomb of the Star, which is enveloped by the sacred tree, the last and final barrier. We get info that these interconnecting rooms are their own Sunyata barriers, so if a sorcerer is skilled enough with domain techniques, they should be able to configure the barrier into a shape of whatever, like a theater, a tea room, anything, whatever concept fills the void of the Sunyata. So given that Kenjaku is a sorcerer of that high caliber, it's important that he thinks that he has control and is comfortable with this barrier, but ultimately the Sunyata barrier is under Tengen's control, so they can fight Kenjaku's domain with the help of the Sunyata to analyze Kenjaku's barrier and actually use Tengen's to destroy his domain. So now they can plan on neutralizing Kenjaku's domain with the leeway of about 10 seconds for Tengen to initiate the Sunyata. So Yuki has to have a domain battle with Kenjaku for 10 seconds without Yuki initiating a domain expansion, but instead using a simple domain because Yuki doesn't necessarily want to burn out her curse technique as well. Remember, their whole plan is to put Kenjaku in a situation where his domain stops and his curse technique fails. Then Yuki can beat him. It's just more favorable that she would keep her curse technique instead, at least to Tengen's understanding. The way Yuki sees it, she thinks herself strong enough to hold Kenjaku in a battle of domains. Then with Tengen's help to break his barrier, they can beat Kenjaku with Garuda and Chozo despite Yuki not having a technique to work with. But for Yuki to use her domain expansion, Tengen would be forced to take down her domain instead first before Kenjaku's, and there's a chance Kenjaku uses Hollow Wicker Basket or Simple Domain to counteract Yuki and preserve his own curse technique. It's really more like Yuki is not understanding the skill level Kenjaku is at when she talks about Simple Domain, since she is a special grade with a real domain expansion, but even Kenjaku's Simple Domain is on another level. So that's insane. There's merit in both expanding a domain and using Simple Domain, but in a high level battle like this, preserving a curse technique is essential. So Yuki and Tengen stick to the plan of forcing Kenjaku to use his domain and survive enough time to dismantle his barrier and beat up Kenjaku afterwards when his curse technique fails. But there's a miscalculation on their part. Kenjaku's domain is like Sukuna's in Shibuya. He's expanding a curse technique / domain in a unenclosed space. Even Tengen is impressed. What's more shocking is how Tengen is like the god of barrier techniques since he's the best at it, and even she's sweating. So now Yuki has to deal with this barrierless domain on the fly, but that's just it. There's no barrier to counteract. The point of simple domain is to negate barrier walls / the environment and nullify the sure hit of a domain expansion like a glitch in an automatic targeting system with no target. But a situation with no barrier wall to negate is unprecedented. Yuki uses the new shadow style simple domain technique that she taught Todo, and let's go, it's the same stance and everything like our brother Todo was taught well. However, even this time, the simple domain is nigh on ineffective as Yuki's simple domain is being ripped at the seams. She needs Tengen's support and fast. So quickly, even to a domain with no barrier, Tengen uses the Sunyata to treat the edge of the sure hit's effective range as an exterior to start erasing the domain itself. If you remember, even Sukuna's domain had an invisible perimeter or radius for the sure hit to take place, so the same is true for Kenjaku. But negating it this way is a little bit too slow for how powerful Kenjaku's barrier is. Kenjaku emphasizes that he's not the same as Tengen. He's him, bro. I have lived through this 1,000-year tug of war between feuding giants, the capricious alliances and betrayals of this world of curses. So Kenjaku came ready. Yuki's simple domain has been destroyed within seconds, and Kenjaku uses his sure hit to crush her. However, Tengen manages to at least dismantle Kenjaku's domain, but in the process, he had to bring down the entire Sunyuta barrier down with it. The barrier collapses and they lower down to another level. This may even be the Tomb of the Star itself. However, Tengen failed to make it in time, and Yuki is in very bad shape. Kenjaku mentions that the result may have been different if she used domain expansion herself, and it's her own fault for trusting that thing. Tengen kept something important from all of you. The Culling Games ... And wow, there's something Tengen is hiding about the Culling Game ritual. But before that, it's revealed Garuda appears and Yuki is not done yet. Kenjaku surmises Yuki is in no condition to move, but is using her curse to give herself time to heal with reverse curse technique. So damn, that implies all 4 special grades have reverse curse technique and domain expansions as of now. They really are an entirely different breed for real. But Kenjaku thinks she's buying time to recover herself, so he'll just use that time to replenish his own curse technique. But despite Yuki's condition, she will not let up. Yuki keeps up the pressure despite the insane decision to keep her own injuries, and I love her conviction and mentality in this moment. Yuki still puts up a hard fight, well enough to keep Kenjaku on defense with her curse, but she still feels that injury and coughs up blood. And Kenjaku never passes up the chance and is still talking crap regarding that she should have used her brain a little. But Yuki begs to differ as she mentions her type of guy again. Hard-working, muddy men, as our brother Chozo comes in to support Yuki's with determination. And we get a break next week. Wow, this was amazing. This situation is actually extremely favorable because next chapter, in theory, Kenjaku will not have a curse technique to use. Garuda is still wrapped around his body. Yuki still has her curse technique, and Chozo is swinging in with Supernova or something else. Everything surprisingly worked out well considering Kenjaku unleashed an entire freaking domain, similar to Sukuna's Malevolent Shrine at that. But I have to mention, like, what the hell is going on here? Like, Tengen, what you got going on, bro? Like, and why does Kenjaku know? Since day one, Tengen has been so mysteriously disconnected from everything, like she doesn't concern herself with the world. But for Tengen to get involved and inform the sorcerers now, to give them the back of Prison Realm to divulge the Culling Games, it's kind of sus. Tengen knows so much about the specific nature of Kenjaku in the games, but decided to act only recently. There's surely something going on with them. I really do think Tengen has humanity's best interest in mind and doesn't seem all that terrible, but that doesn't mean Tengen isn't willing to confide themselves with the likes of Kenjaku or have some type of ulterior motive that we aren't privy to, cause sooner or later Kenjaku will seize her, and maybe then we'll see what Tengen has to say for themselves. But boy did we have some peak moments this chapter. Yuki is a beast, Kenjaku's domain also has no barrier, Chozo's back, and Kenjaku's dialogue was epic. That's definitely a hard-ass quote to Kenjaku's ideals as a 1,000-year entity. I really couldn't ask for a better antagonist. But brothers, please let me know what you amazing people think down below in the comments. Absolutely anything could happen, but I'd imagine Kenjaku will ultimately, in some way, reach Tengen's body, especially since they're now so close to the tomb. But remember to share your own thoughts. I'm loving the chapter, I'm loving the series, and right now I got some very interesting videos planned, so look out for that. But this has been Enemy Stand User, and I'll see you amazing guys in the next one. Bye-bye.